class. Okay, our recording has started. Fair warning, my voice is not working well today, so if my voice just cuts out, I apologize. I'm trying hard. Oh, and here's my camera. Here I am. Hey. All right. Is everybody excited for this weekend? Are you as excited as I am about our long weekend coming up? You got cool plans for Monday? Anybody going out of town or anything fun like that? Oh, I hope not. I thought it wasn't supposed to hit us until like Tuesday. Maybe I'm wrong though. Cool. You know, I like fall a lot, but I really don't like winter. So, and summer is definitely my favorite. So I'm kind of mourning the loss of summer a little bit because I'm not ready for it to get colder. And it's already like in 85 degrees today, which is awesome for right now. But I know what's coming. Winter is going to be here soon, and then it will be dark and cold, and I'm not ready for that. But yeah, it's raining here right now in Jacksonville. Okay. Well, you're getting some of that tropical storm stuff. Really, Deja? I'm so basic. Like, I love pumpkin spice stuff. Like, I'm all about that pumpkin spice latte. But, oh, no, this is the wrong PowerPoint. Okay. I'm sure whoever was watching this recording is like, Miss Coule, what are you doing? Because that's the wrong thing. All right. So we're going to just review some things about crime scene today. And I have a game for us, so hopefully we'll get to it at the end. That's true, Michaela. But you know what? I lived in Denver for like the better part of a year, and it would get to like below 0, but it didn't feel as cold as it does here in Georgia when it's like 30 degrees. And I think it's because we still have like humidity in the air. So it was such a dry cold out there in Denver that I was like, hey, this is not so bad. So, but I imagine Kentucky would be freezing cold if it got to be 0 degrees. All right, so let's review our crime scene personnel. Name some people for me that would be at a crime scene and would be involved with that and what they do at the crime scene. Oh, man. That's crazy, Michaela. All right, help me answer people that would be at a crime scene and what their job is. Okay, yes, EMT. Detectives, okay. Yes, all right. Investigators and police. All right, who else? Anybody else? Who issues warrants for a crime scene? Crime scene investigators. Okay, judges are involved. They may not be at a crime scene, but you're right, they are definitely involved in that whole process. All right, do you guys remember the name of the person who issues warrants, like search warrants? Kind of sounds like a lawyer. Anybody remember? District attorney, yes, district attorney, okay? So here are some of our people at the crime scene. Our police officers are the ones who respond to the crime and they secure the area. Detectives are there. We talked about paramedics. Here's our district attorneys. Everybody has a hard time remembering that one, so maybe you want to write yourself a note about that one. They're the ones that issue the warrants. Just watching SVU and Criminal Minds too, and they were talking. Yeah, isn't it interesting that now that you know some things, if you watch a crime show, you pick up on more like details of what they're doing? I know whenever I watch a crime show, I'm like, hey, we just talked about that in class the other day. So we have our medical examiners or coroners, CSI, and then special forensic scientists like entomologists, odontologists, anthropologists. I always name those 3, but there's other ones as well. And we'll talk about a lot of those as the year goes on. Toxicologist, there's one that I don't normally name. All right, let's get our brains working here, and I'm going to let you think about this for a second. There goes my voice. It's already gone. Do you think digital crime scene photographs should be allowed to be used in court? Why or why not? And what can be done to make them more reliable? And keyword here being digital. So think about some of the issues that we might have with digital photos and what you could do to solve some of those issues. What might be some of the problems that we would have with digital photographs as opposed to like a film photograph? You know, actually it'd be more clear than a film photograph a lot of times. So, and they're really trained to get a good angle. Getting partial crime scene, okay, but they take lots of pictures so they can fill in all the gaps, right? Bias, maybe, but they're gonna photograph the whole scene, definitely. What might their bias cause them to do, Brock? Yeah, that's kind of the direction I'm thinking of, Olivia. Like, could they be tampered with like Photoshop and stuff? Okay, yeah. Think about back when we had film cameras. What were you not able to do right at the crime scene that you can do now? Like if you're just snapping pictures, what could you do with digital photographs that you can't do with film photographs? Delete. That's what I'm talking about, Michaela. So potentially they could delete something if they realize that they took a picture of something that they didn't want included, right? So think about some things that we could do, some measures we could take to make photographs more reliable. What could we do? Okay, so some of you said use film cameras. That's an option, but I mean, we want to take advantage of the fact that digital cameras, you can take lots and lots of pictures, right? So I don't know if like digital is the enemy. Deja says ban Photoshop from office computers. Okay, but if they take it home with them, they could still edit it on their personal computer, right? More than one person taking them. That's a good idea, Brock. More than one photographer. Okay, use the cloud. So like immediate upload, that would be good. Leave it at the office. Okay, yeah, that's it, Deja. I mean, why would they need to take it home? So you would require that they leave it at the office, right? They shouldn't be able to take their camera home with them, or at least the information that's stored on the camera, right? That's good, Timothy. Right, only storage where they can't delete from it. All right. These are all good thoughts. All right, good job. So here are some measures that they take to protect digital photos at a crime scene, okay? They have rules like no images may be deleted from a camera used in taking crime scene photos. Digital photos have to have sequential numbers and times stamped on them. So they have to be labeled by the camera itself, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so that if you deleted one, that stamp, would disappear. So you would notice like picture number 2 is missing. New memory sticks have to be used for each crime scene so that you don't accidentally delete pictures from a previous crime scene, or that you don't accidentally mix up which photos belong to which crime scene. They have to hand over the memory sticks as evidence, and these memory sticks are treated just like any other piece of evidence. They go through the chain of custody just like any other evidence. So if somebody's going to handle it, they have to sign it out. Yeah, right, Brock. And then images uploaded to computer have to be backed up on CD or DVD and handled by the chain of custody guidelines because it's easier to possibly like accidentally delete images, right? Okay, good thoughts. Thanks for discussing that. All right, we're gonna watch a YouTube video. You should be able to click right on this link. It'll take you about 3 minutes and then, or 3.5 minutes, and then we'll come back together and talk about it. All right, good. It looks like most of you guys are done watching that video. So let's move on with our lesson. So what did that video tell you about the technology that they have for crime scenes nowadays? Wasn't that impressive? The things that they talked about us having today. It was almost like a Google Earth sort of thing, right? But they used it to recreate a crime scene. Did you find anything particularly interesting about the video, or do you have any comments about what it could be used for potentially? I mean, think of the application of that kind of technology. Yeah, right. And they have all these like 3D cameras now where you could literally take it to a crime scene and take a 3D like video of the crime scene and just plug it into like virtual reality like that. Somebody in my last class said, right, exactly, Michaela, you can check witness testimony. And that's kind of what we talked about the other day about how like, even though witness testimonies are direct evidence, how reliable are they actually sometimes, you know, because your crime, I read that word just now. Your memory can be changed depending on like your bias sometimes. Oh, cool. Yeah, one of my students in my last class said something about like, maybe one day they're going to look at crime scenes with like VR goggles or something, you know, you can just pop on some VR goggles to go to the crime scene and see what happened. So yeah, it'd be crazy, the applications we could come up with. Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's review our vocabulary from yesterday, and I'm going to copy this onto the whiteboard and unlock the whiteboard for you. And then you should be able to draw lines from the words to the definitions. So help me match these words. All right, beautiful. Do we agree with all of these? Anybody concerned that one of these might be wrong? Good, because they're all right. Okay, so let's just review them. Circumstantial evidence is evidence that infers a conclusion, but it's not direct evidence. So it might place somebody at a crime scene, but it's not like a video of them at the crime scene. A first responder is a trained emergency personnel, like fire, police, medical. Locard's exchange principle is the principle used by forensic scientists to identify physical evidence. What does Locard's exchange principle actually say? Every something, something, something. Anybody remember that one? What is Locard's exchange principle? There it is. Every contact leaves a trace. Every contract. That would be funny. Every contact leaves a trace. I guess contracts do too. Physical evidence is the evidence which is observable, measurable, and concrete, not based on opinion. Somebody said the other day, and I think maybe this was a little bit confusing in one of our first lessons. I was reading these history of forensics discussion posts, and somebody put that they know that all evidence is measurable. That's true for physical evidence. Of course, we do have like, you know, witness-based evidence. So, but physical evidence is evidence which is observable, measurable, and concrete, okay? And then police officers take charge of the crime scene and secure it. Good. You guys are great. All right. Okay. Do you remember the word corpus delicti? What does that mean? And what is an example of it? Here, I can copy this to the whiteboard too. And maybe you can help me answer this question. What is corpus delicti? And what would be an example of it? You don't know. Okay, that's fine. Thanks for telling me. We only covered this in 2 slides, so maybe you don't remember. All right, let me give you a hint. We suspect that somebody committed a murder, okay? What do we have to prove that that person committed a murder? Just basic idea. What do we have to start with? Okay, these are good guesses, but think like super at the very beginning of our investigation. Before we even start an investigation, what do we have to have? What would make us start a murder investigation? Yeah, or what? Yeah, right. Evidence that a murder occurred, right? We have to at least have some sort of idea that a murder occurred. So this is like the body of proof that a crime occurred, okay? So for example, in our case of the murder, we would need either like a dead body, enough blood to suggest that someone was killed somewhere, a crime scene, a confession, some sort of thing that proves that a crime actually occurred, all right? If, if I was the owner of a gas station and I call the cops and I say, hey, I think my store's been robbed, what would I need to have for the officers to believe me? Yeah, evidence of some sort, right? I mean, if they show up and my store looks perfectly normal, they can't know for sure what's missing. Yeah, stolen money. I would need to maybe show inventory where I had 20 of these in stock and now I only have 3. So there has to be some sort of proof, excuse me, that a crime occurred in order to convict someone of a crime. Good. Okay. Do we understand that better now? Do you remember talking about that? Any questions about this principle? Okay. All right. Here's another one for you to help me fill out. I'm going to put it on the whiteboard where I thought it was. There we go. All right, help me figure out the differences between circumstantial and direct evidence. And you can put the definitions of each in the top box and then give me examples in the bottom boxes. Come on, don't be shy. Somebody help me out. What's the difference between circumstantial and direct evidence? Direct evidence is easy. I know you guys can help me figure that one out. There you go. Okay, that's on the right track. So what would some examples of circumstantial be, Brock? It might be easier for some of you to help me find examples of each than to try to figure out what they are. Anybody want to help me post on the board? Okay. Direct evidence is video evidence or eyewitness testimony only, okay? So then if direct evidence is eyewitness or video or photograph evidence only, then what is circumstantial evidence? Brock's the only one trying. Help him out, people. Yeah, fingerprints, DNA, those are examples of circumstantial evidence. What else? Do we need to look at our definition again? Let's look at our definition. Yeah, blood spatter, circumstantial. Okay, so circumstantial is evidence that infers a conclusion, but it is not direct evidence. Okay, it can lead you in the right direction, but it's not direct evidence. There you go. All right, bullet holes, DNA, fingerprints, murder weapons, really anything except for hair, anything except for video or eyewitness testimony. Yeah, a gun would definitely be circumstantial evidence. Okay? Questions about the difference between those two? All right. Oops. Okay. Locard's exchange principle. Let's say we have a blue car and a red car that are involved in an accident. They collide. The driver of the blue car quickly drives away because he knows he was at fault. What would be some examples of Locard's exchange principle that prove that the blue car was there, or some evidence that the blue car driver left behind? Good. Blue paint. Yes, exactly, Deja. The blue paint on the red car. Okay, maybe a broken headlight. Missing bumper. Okay, maybe they left their bumper at the crime scene. Yeah, definitely. All right. What about tail lights, broken glass that don't belong to the red car? Okay. Good. You guys get the idea. So the blue car would probably transfer some blue paint onto a red car and leave some evidence behind that it was there. Tire marks, that's a good one too, especially if it doesn't match the red car. Yeah, and vice versa. The red would leave evidence on the blue. So when you did eventually find the blue car, if you did, if it had red paint on it that matched the red car that it hit, that would help you to prove that they were the blue car that was involved in the accident. Excellent, Deja. Good point. All right, what are our differences between these three people? Coroners, medical examiners, and forensic pathologists. And I'll give you a hint. It has to do with how they get their job. The main difference is how they get their job. Okay, do they all have to be educated? Yeah, to some degree they do, right? Coroners don't always. You're right, Brock, and they didn't used to be, but most states required that they have some sort of education nowadays. So most of them start out as forensic pathologists or even medical examiners, okay? How do you get to become a medical examiner? And you can write it on the board if you want to, or you can put it in the chat. Yes, there you go, Deja. They're appointed. So oftentimes they start out as a forensic pathologist and then they get appointed to the job of medical examiner. What about coroners? How do you get to be a coroner? Are they appointed? Do they just go fill out a job application? How do you get to be a coroner? They might start out that way when they're doing their forensic pathology, but that's not how you get the job of coroner. Yeah, Robert, they usually do have to have a degree in training, but still wouldn't be able to get you the job as a coroner. So if a medical examiner is appointed, think along that line. Yes, there it is. They are elected. Okay, ask very nicely. Basically, right? That's politics. You go out and ask people to vote for you, I guess. But yeah, coroners are elected. And so basically the way it goes is that a lot of them start out as forensic pathologists, and these forensic pathologists have to go to regular college, medical school, and then they spend a year as like an apprentice in a medical examiner's facility, okay? And then you can get appointed to become a medical examiner and elected to be a coroner, all right? Okay, now I have a game for us, so I'm going to stop our recording here. I'll put this information up on the screen for just a second, just for the recording, and then I'm going to come back and help us to play this game.